Harbor, Maryland. Newsmax is an official sponsor of the event, and today we're hearing from key speakers, including our very own Newsmax CEO, Chris Ruddy.
Now, that, of course, Senator Ted Cruz of Texas talking, I believe he's up there with J.D. Vance. And let's bring in Doug Collins, former congressman and future who knows what. I always think there's something coming. The talented gentleman he is. Doug, right now there's the Club for Growth going on. Right. I believe in Miami. Is that in Miami?
I think so.
Okay, and then we have this CPAC going on in D.C. Now, the way I look at it, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is CPAC is kind of the Trump crowd. We know that they've been fond of him in the past and will be this time. He's going to give a big keynote over the weekend. And here's a look at some of the other speakers that are coming up. Club for Growth, DeSantis is going there. So I wanted to give get your perspective on what this all means to the Republican Party.
Well, at this point, I'm not sure it really means a lot of anything in the sense of, taking it one way or the other. Look, Club for Growth is a super PAC that simply plays in elections with a lot of money from all over the country, and they pick on issues, many of which are not been produced in Washington, D.C., and they look for areas where their money can make the most difference. They've had differences with Donald Trump before. They've been with him on some, but they've been against him as well. And so it's really sort of two different things. CPAC itself is a more of a grassroots phenomenon. CPAC is one in which you have people who come from that are not necessarily party affiliated. They may be Republicans and conservatives and vote that way all the time, but they're more conservative at heart, and they just want to see their country, and they want to be a part of something that they feel like is a movement. So I really think it's two different things. I mean, we can read into whatever we want to read into. In about 3 or 4 or 5 more months, this will be in sort of the back door. You're going to start seeing the candidates who want to be a part of a candidate are out there on the campaign trail.
Yeah, and let's take a look at this. We have a list of the Club for Growth's candidates for president in 2024. Different group of people, of course, you would expect to see at CPAC, as Bob mentioned. That's a lot of the Trump advocates, basically. Your reaction about how these candidates might be split between these events?
Yeah, they may be split, but I think one of the issues you're dealing with here is that, again, some of these candidates are looking for, endorsements, money. And CPAC is a platform in which you have the grassroots support and that can translate over into momentum, say, into a primary stuff. The Club for Growth is emphasized more on finances, talking with donors, those kind of things. So if you're looking at a candidacy in which you're going to need to raise a lot of money, of course, the money issue is probably going to be more on the Club for Growth issue. I don't see these as necessarily ideological opposed because the same Club for Growth money comes from people, small donors, who are attending CPAC. So, again, I have a problem with sometimes, the Club for Growth depicts on, some of the issues that they pick on and how they go about it. And, I think that's just two different organizations, and it just happens to come at the same time.
Okay. Here's one thing I do wonder about. For those Republicans that are not supporting Mr. Trump, I think their fear is that if somebody else actually beats him, I'm not saying they will, but if they were able to do that, that the organizations like CPAC, which has been very pro-Trump, might not come out to vote for whoever the other nominee is. What's your read on that?
Yeah, that is a concern. I mean, you saw that in some of the states in 2020. You saw, in some of the areas, and especially in this 2022 election cycle, where folks who were supporting, quote, a Trump candidate, the Trump candidate didn't win the primary, and so they stayed away in the general. And you saw a little bit of that. Some states more than others. Pennsylvania, I think, was one of those areas where you definitely saw a little bit of it, and in maybe Arizona and Nevada to an extent, not as much there. But these are the areas that I think at the end of the day, Republicans and conservatives have to understand one thing. The Republican nominee is going to be 500 times better than Joe Biden, period. End of sentence. Stop. Okay, so now here's our discussion. We can fight on social media, we can fight on news shows about what we don't like and who's better and who's more conservative this. But I guarantee you, if we don't come together to defeat the Democratic candidate in 2024, then shame on us. And I'm sick of it. I don't want to hear us complain one bit about a Democrat getting elected if we can't come together and realize that our candidate no matter where it comes from, our primary system is going to be the best one. Trump has got a hard lock on a lot of these voters, and I think that's going to be understood. We'll see how that plays out. If he plays those out, then I think everybody will fall in line. Both ways is my encouragement. Is Republicans, you got to fall in line and make sure that we support the most conservative candidate that can get elected. Sounds like William F. Buckley, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. But times have changed because this Republican Party has gotten more William F. Buckley-ish over time. Because Buckley at one time was considered right of the conservative, but now that's where a lot of the party is. And having said that, it may be a reaction to where the Democrats have gone.
Oh, I think very much so. Remember, we've got to understand, and what Buckley was actually saying was, I'll vote for the most conservative candidate who can get elected. Now, remember, when he started back in the 50s, 60s, conservatism was thought as an aberrant political ideology. If it wasn't for them back then going back and saying, no, we're a valid political theory that is not just valid, but actually right, we've got to get back as a party to those kind of arguments. We cannot run from the left. We cannot run from different demographics. We've got to take that message of empowerment and opportunity to everyone, no matter where they're from or where their zip code is. And if we do that, we can win. If we don't, and we just simply want to talk to ourselves, that's a mistake.
All right, Doug Collins, thanks for being with us as always.
Always good to be with y'all. Take care.